Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarret Patton.
I think it would sound something like, until there was a big crash and maybe a snowballing avalanche following from the wreckage and aftermath. Welcome to this episode of License to Live. My name is Dr. Jarret Patton, and I'm your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. You know what I mean by dissed. I mean dissatisfied, discouraged, disengaged. Any diss that you've had regarding your career, you are in the right place. And while you are listening to this episode, please give me feedback so I make sure to provide you with the most up-to-date information about career and life challenges. Well, today, it would have been a shrieking peril going down the ski slopes before I would have wrecked into Gwyneth Paltrow and started some sort of snowball avalanche. I mean, that's what we're talking about today. Many of you guys know that Gwyneth Paltrow was sued in court over a ski accident several years ago. And, hey, this is yet another reason I do not ski. But we'll get into that case and its implications on what you may be going through in your job right now. And we'll get to that right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarret Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, License to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. License to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Hey guys, this is Janae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarret on License to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey, let's go.
Hey folks, check it out. All you fire starters out there, we have the virtual early bird special now for License to Live, the conference 2023. Be there. Go to licensedtolive.com. Yeah, folks, seriously, fire starters, I do not ski. You know, even from a teenage kid, people would say, hey, you should join the ski club. No, I'm not for winter sports. And this whole Gwyneth Paltrow accident thing is just one more reason why I don't need to do that. Now, I will tell you the last time I was on skis, and I can remember it just like it was yesterday. I looked up at the sky that morning, could not wait to get out to the wide open beach. I looked up at that blue sky and that different shade of blue in that Caribbean Ocean, and I was ready to take on my day. With this day in particular, I said, I am going to water ski. Now, in my mind, I had it laid out. I knew what I was going to do. It would have looked just like those videos. I would have probably been hanging on with one hand, or maybe turned around backwards skiing in an S pattern, or maybe even, hey, no hands. Look, mom, no hands. I have this thing held by my teeth. And so I was ready to get out there and get on the water. And I knew that it was going to be a great day. So I get in the water, get on my gear, have the skis on, and ready for the boat to start yanking me out the water to have fun like so many other people had been doing that day. I had difficulty getting out the water. They would start the boat and get it started. And it's starting to cut through the waves. Now I feel the tension, and now I'm trying to keep my feet underneath me, and now I'm trying to push myself and raise up out of the water, because it should be simple, right? I mean, come on, everybody else is just gliding around on top of this ocean like it's no big deal. Well, except all of those people before me, they were half my height, they were half my weight, they were definitely a different body type, and well, okay. I face planted a couple times going to get up on these skis. And I was pretty determined, though. I mean, you guys know that I like a good challenge. I like to find a solution. And I said, all right, as I'm almost out of breath after a couple of face plants into the ocean, I said, whew, all right, one more try. Now, the captain was ready, had the boat fired up. Boom! Sounded like it was even more fired up and ready to go. They brought out some extra horses for the horsepower to tow me around in the ocean. The boat takes off like nothing. And I'm like, here we go. And I feel that strong tug of the rope, and I'm holding on for dear life. And I'm rising up out of the water. I said, this is it. Here we go. This is when the show begins. And just as I was coming up out of the water, my legs started drifting apart. And before I knew it, bing, snap. It was my right hamstring, and I went crashing down into the water. I was in immediate pain. I knew it had happened because I felt the pop, and I was like, now I'm stuck in the middle of the Caribbean in this 80-degree water while I'm probably pouring blood all into my leg. I may never make it out the ocean. I used every last bit of strength that I had in order to get myself back on the boat. I could barely drag my wet body into the boat, and I just stared up at the sun, out of breath, like, where did this day go wrong? So that, in essence, as the story would go on, and lots of stuff to tell, but you have to catch it on stage, or I'll have to tell it some other way, but I'm not going to have this whole episode about my epic water skiing fails, but that was the last time I was on skis, and I think I'm pretty good now in that I don't need to get on skis anymore. Now, Gwyneth Paltrow, on the other hand, she likes to ski, and so do lots of other people. So they're out on the slopes in these different resorts. And, you know, if you ever catch me at one of those places in Colorado or Utah in the wintertime, you know where to find me. I'll be in the hot tub. But she was on the slopes, as was another doctor who somehow they collided and had a collision on the slopes that day. And, you know, several years later, the doctor that was on the slopes, he said he suffered all these injuries. He had concussion. Life ever since that accident has been very hard. And he decided to sue Gwyneth Paltrow for initially in the millions of dollars, but then amended it to about $300,000 for damages in regards to this skiing accident. Now, Gwyneth Paltrow said the entire time she wasn't at fault. She didn't know what happened. This guy ran into me. How am I responsible for it? So she actually took a move and said she was going to countersue only for $1 and her legal fees because she felt that she was not at fault. I'm not going to go through all of this case, but it was a lot of he said and she said, and they had to get their witnesses around. But after Gwyneth Paltrow did such an excellent job of looking attentive in the courtroom, being interested, staying awake while all this stuff was going on for days of her life. So literally you lose days of your life when you're in a courtroom like this. And the jury gets the case, goes out in 3 hours and says that Paltrow was not at fault. She is not liable for this. They are not giving the claim for the $300,000, and they awarded Gwyneth Paltrow her $1 countersuit. So sometimes it works out if you know how to play the game. And if you are a professional, an executive, a physician, a lawyer, any kind of large or maybe even not so large public figure, you are at risk of being a target. I know a lot of you guys may have had this experience, but I'm actually learning through my clients that many of you still haven't had this experience, no matter how long you've been practicing. And that goes around the pretenses of a malpractice suit. So medical malpractice suits come out all the time. And I live in Pennsylvania, which is a particularly tough state for malpractice suits with the awards people get and all of that. So there's lots of incentives for people to file lawsuits of all different kinds. And typically, I remember the first time that I was involved in a malpractice suit, it was with a patient that I cared for very dearly. In fact, I saved this patient's life. And one random day, I get a letter in the mail and said, "You are being sued by this patient." I'm like, "What? Me? What? I love this patient. They love me. What on earth are we talking about? This is absolutely crazy." And it went on for a couple of years while I had this court case hanging over my head, wondering what's going on. In fact, that family still came to see me. They still took their kids for me to provide their care. And to top it off, they didn't even know that I was being sued by their lawyer. So it was just one of those eye-opening experiences for me, saying that, well, you have to look at the system in these instances, and the system is not necessarily set up for everybody equally. In fact, the system often just throws everybody in the mix and then sorts out the details later. So meanwhile, I'm walking around thinking that I did something wrong or there was some bad outcome that I didn't know and all of these things going on. But to a lot of the lawyers, the prosecutors, the district attorneys, and all the people that get involved in these type of litigation cases, well, not that they take it lightly, but it ends up being a part of their job. And their job is to play a game. And unfortunately, this game happens with your life. So if any of you fire starters have ever had a lawsuit thrown at you, you realize you didn't do anything wrong, there was nothing medical wrong with your care, but your name just happened to be on the chart of so-and-so, and they just go into the chart, look at everybody's name who signed the chart and add everybody's name to the list of people who will get sued. Because after all, doctors have deep pockets, executives have deep pockets, hospital systems have deep pockets. So let's just put it all out there and then see what sticks, and then we'll see what goes on. And so it took me a while to understand that was just kind of the way the system worked. There wasn't anything I could do, but maybe I shouldn't take it personally and just learn how to play this game that I knew nothing about. So if you were in the middle of that situation, I'm sorry for you guys out there. I know what kind of toll it can take on you. But when we come back from the break, I'll give you a couple of things that you can do in the meantime if you're facing any kind of public scrutiny, whether it be a case in the court of law or malpractice or something else in which you are being judged. I'll give you a few tips so that you can stay on the right track and keep it moving. But first, we're going to have a word from our sponsor.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarret's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarret.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
I am so serious about these strategy sessions that I'm offering, folks. I'm just going to pull a message up on LinkedIn I just got this week. And I'm just going to read part of it. It's great. I love to get feedback from people, especially just sitting down and having one of these strategy sessions. It's really a no pitch. We try to look at the situation and get you some actionable steps to keep you going and moving in the right direction. And this one said, I am so thankful to have met you virtually. I'm grateful to have you in my life. Thank you for the wisdom nuggets shared last week. And thank you for your time. As promised, I will keep you posted on my progress. So I love getting nice notes, appreciative thanks, and most of all, I love helping people. So seriously, go to timewithdrjarret.com, make your strategy session today. If you are facing any type of scrutiny, and a lot of you doc fire starters out there, it may be a malpractice suit. Some of you others out there, it may be some sort of civil suit. Other of you, it may be a criminal suit. It doesn't matter what type of situation you're in. The main thing to remember in these situations is not to take it personal. Now, that's easy to say because it seems like it's absolutely personal because your name is on all this documentation and official things and certified letters that may be coming your way and all of these things that come about because you were in the middle of one of these battles. But realize that, well, these people aren't out really hating on you, at least to most degrees. They are simply doing a job that's a part of, for lack of a better word, playing a game. So unfortunately, this is a game of life. Yeah, not like the board game I played with my kids when they were younger. No, it is the game of your life. And unfortunately, for many of the people involved, they'll go home and go to sleep, wake up the next day and do it again to someone else. And in your instance, when this is happening to you, you're feeling pretty low. You're feeling pretty down because you're like, well, again, I'm a high achiever and I usually perform to the top standards of anybody's standards. And I don't know why this is happening to me right now. Well, the why may be not important, but the how is important. And it really is about playing the game. So the first thing, of course, in these situations is to get appropriate representation. You need to take the time to find somebody who will take a look at your case, who will take a look at what is involved, who may be liable, and someone with some expertise. Because at the end of the day, these are highly public matters. These are things that can cost somebody a lot of money somewhere along the way. And the best thing you can do is get representation. So sometimes if it's something through your job, they'll provide it for you. Spend some time talking to folks and just take everything day by day. So many times the people that are being accused have done no wrongdoing. They haven't done a single thing wrong at all, but the system acts as if you were guilty before you even start. So you have to get all of that out of the way and just say, okay, I'm going to reframe this. Everybody's playing a game. I need to play a game. Let me get the right equipment. And that right equipment as a start is a representation. One additional thing you can do beyond getting the right representation is to make sure that you are not going to carry this piece of luggage around with you everywhere you go. Okay, if it's time for you to make a deposition, if it's time for you to sign some more legal work, get into it, get your mind around it, saying this is just a part of the game, and keep moving. Again, don't drag this around as baggage that's going to weigh you down, make you feel bad, and all of that. And then really moving from this point on to the third point is look at your options. What are your options at this point? You may have no other option other than to play the game, which is okay, but you may have many more options that could be out there. And so you have to get your legal team together, get your family together, and just see what kind of things you can make out of this. And then, the toughest thing, if something really goes all the way to court, like I told you about Gwyneth Paltrow. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing, but if I did, from the few clips that I saw, you're looking attentive, you're not falling asleep, you're trying to be a part, and you're doing your best to play the game. Just like you would do the best to play your game of basketball, baseball, pickleball, whatever you like to play. Golf, which I'm not very good at all. Any of these things, just play the game. So remember, these things may happen even if you had nothing to do with it, but don't let all of these unintended consequences get in the way of you finding success despite the things that may be coming up against you. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been disengaged, dissatisfied, disgruntled, disenfranchised, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and subscribe to License to Live. Hey, and let me know what you're thinking about in between episodes. I love interacting with people on LinkedIn and social media. So hit me up at Dr. Jarret. Spell out the word Dr. J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And we will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarret's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.